Blade and Sorcery is an incredible game where you can use blades and sorcery to not only conquer dungeons and defeat giant golems, but also fight your favorite characters from any movie, TV show, or anime with any of their weapons or abilities thanks to the mods. Whether that be fighting Aang with his own earthbending, Egress with Jinwoo's Venom Fang, Darth Vader with Obi-Wan's lightsaber, the list goes on and on. The problem is that while awesome, Blade and Sorcery is only available to those with VR headsets. Until now. What's up guys, PiePop101 here. Today I'll be showing you my Blade and Sorcery flat screen mod that lets you experience all of Blade and Sorcery with a keyboard and mouse, absolutely no VR required. I spent the last while working on this in secret, so if you think it's awesome, make sure to like the video, stick around until the end for a surprise, and don't forget a link to the mod is in the description. And yes, this works with the majority of mods, whether they're spells, weapons with special abilities, maps, and more. So without further ado, let's get started. We are in Blade and Sorcery right now, but you guys will notice we can't actually move. In order to activate the mod, there are two ways. The first way is pressing F8 on the keyboard and typing in activate flat screen mode, or typing in the majority of it and then tab to automatically fill it in. If this way is too complicated for you and you want to avoid this debug console at all costs, that's perfectly fine. Simply press the semicolon on your keyboard. And there you go. It automatically activates. It flashes green to let you know that everything is turned on, even though you're obviously following the mouse already. But you guys will notice, obviously, our mouse is not locked to the center of our screen, which is kind of annoying. So if you press the period key on your keyboard, it is now locked to the center of your screen, which makes moving a heck of a lot easier. Don't worry, there are customizations to either change the cursor that you have right now, so instead of this red circle, you can completely change that yourself, or you can remove it entirely. I'll be getting into all of those customizations in the mod book momentarily. Now that we've actually activated the mod, we press period to do this. The final thing we need to do is press Ctrl Z on our keyboard to allow jumping. Now what this does is normally when you press space, it pauses the game. Well, we obviously don't want that because this is not going to be able to let us play the game. So if we press space again and then we do Ctrl Z, since we did it a third time, turning it on, off, and then on again, we can now jump around in Blade and Sorcery, which is perfect. Obviously, our main controls are W, A, S, and D to move around in any of those directions. Pressing space to jump. We have tab to dash forward, and if you guys will notice, even if you're looking straight up, you still only dash forward in the direction your body is facing in-game, which is perfect. But if that isn't cool enough for you, if you press Control Tab, you can dash in any direction, whether that's something like aiming directly up like this, aiming down at the ground, whichever way you guys want to dash, it's completely up to you. And yes, everything works based on your player's speed. Again, customizable in the book, which I'll be going over in just 1 second. I want to go through the main movement controls, and we'll go over that before we go over all the spells and other special stuff that I added into the mod. Okay, so now we have C for crouching. Go up and down as much as you guys want. It's a little bit slow. This is how you crouch in the base game. And then you press B to kick. You can kick as much as you want. You can spam B. You can kick with both feet. No, it's pretty easy. Just walk over to whatever you want, kick it, whether that's enemies, whether that's barrels. And if we jump and press B, it does also work based on our spells and abilities. I'm using the flying kick ability in Blade and Sorcery. I forget what the name is off the top of my head. Moving around, crouching, kicking, dashing, and finally, if you do shift while holding any of those, so if we do shift while doing W, A, S, and D, we sprint. So this is what it looks like normally. This is our normal speed moving from one end of the arena to the other. It's honestly pretty fast as is, but you guys can hold shift and notice it is much quicker. It works in any direction like so. You can move around, you can jump. Everything works exactly as you guys would want it. So moving around, there's no lag, no problems. You can traverse the entire arena. You can dodge all these obstacles. Yes, jumping and climbing does work. So if we were to go on top of the spikes right here, let me just jump like so. Jump on top of this. All we need to do is throw our hands up on top so our hands are landed like this. We press space and then voila, we are now on top. So jumping and climbing mechanics work. It's honestly pretty easy. It's super simple. So that's how we move in our Blade and Sorcery flat screen mod. Now let's get to the fun stuff. Okay, so we have Q and then E, which moves out your left and then right hands respectively. If you do Control Q and Control E, it does it much slower, so that way you can actually grab and pick up stuff. So let's say we have this mug right here. It grabs the handle, or at least it should grab the handle, although it seems like a lot of the base games are a bit finicky with this. I think I need to experiment just a little bit more to get it working perfectly, but you guys get the idea. So punch, longer punch or grab, and if you guys actually want to punch instead of just reaching your hand out with an open hand, just simply do Shift C and then you make a fist. And while I was making this, I did deal with a couple of bugs like this right here, just flipping off over and over and over. Completely accidental, but since then, we've got it working perfectly, so you can actually punch enemies properly now. And the second that your fist hits something, it returns back so it doesn't cause your hand to just phase through things. Like you can punch this and it doesn't just launch it into orbit, which is absolutely perfect. But for demonstration purposes, we can do this. And I do want to make sure one thing is very clear for you guys. With both spellcasting and punching, which I'll get into spellcasting in just 1 second, your hands will always revert back to whatever the default pose and the default rotation is. So if I was going to grab something like this axe right here, and I release the axe, which I'll be getting into in just 1 second, your hand returns to this. If I grab an axe or a mace like this and I release it, your hand will always go back to whatever the punch position is. So you can just keep punching and going absolutely nuts. Or you can set it back to being open, whatever you guys like, to be honest. Awesome. Now we're holding our axe right here. If we press R, that's basically like we're pressing the trigger in game. If we do Shift R, that's us pressing the spell button, and then Control R releases whatever we're doing. That's the grip in game. So if I was to go over to our book right here, and, oh, I don't know, why don't we get something like a great sword? Sure, why not? Let's just pull this right here, just so that I can show you guys super simple. We go over to this, and let's rotate right next to the sword. If we put our hand, oh, I don't know. Let's do it right here. If we put our hand right here, we do Control R, it grabs it, and now we reverse grip the sword. It's literally that simple. If you want to chuck things up, you can do it by just doing Control R and throwing your hand, or something that I like doing, which is much, much easier. So let's grab this sword right here. And you know what? Why don't we just lower it just a bit? Absolutely perfect. And finally, if we do E, that is our basic attack right here. If we do Shift and then E, that is what actually shoots it out and throws whatever we're holding. So it makes it a little bit easier than needing to physically or move your mouse and your body. So we have E. Whenever you're holding a weapon, it does a straightforward attack, and it moves your hand forward as well. But if you don't like that, there are 3 different attack poses we can do as of this moment. So V just rotates your hand forward. Shift V does it to the right, and Control V does it to the left. So if you wanted to do something like this, you can rotate your hand to the sides, just like that. You can rotate it around, play around with it as much as you want. It's so much fun. So if you want to actually sword fight enemies, you want to be able to block their attacks from either side. You can definitely do that. You can still stab them, or you can just launch your sword at them, doing a stab attack. Or, I mean, simply, you could just do V and then aim directly at them and hold it. So with V and Shift V and Control V, you can hold these as long as you want. With pressing it with E, it's just a simple dash attack. You cannot hold it, and if you spam it, it does get a little bit weird, so there is a slight delay. I think it's 0.2 seconds off the top of my head, so you can just do a little stab attack, destroy whatever you want. And I don't know, can I destroy a barrel? The barrels are a little bit tougher to do based on this, but if you want to stab an enemy, if you want to break a rock like we just did, there you go. I don't want to do this anymore. I think it is now about time to get into our customizations, then we'll get into our spells. Great, so the customizations are super simple. Press F8 and type in toggle options menu. So it does get a little bit weird because you need to press F3 in order to actually interact with all of the books. I haven't spent any time working on fixing that just yet, but I will in the near future. Now, what you need to do is just press the colon, That way you can interact with the book and have it not move a ton when you're trying to do it. And yes, this does move around wherever you want. So now that we've done that, what we can do first, let's cover the player abilities. So we have the player speed set as a default 1. You can change it as much as you want. Press the X right here to go back to the default value. Your sprint speed is 1.5 times the normal speed. Your dash speed, again, 1.0. Customize that as much as you guys want. Your main hand, so this is for casting and your abilities, which we can definitely change that right here. So if you want it to be your left, you can do that just for fun. So I'll show that off in 1 second. And then we have our hand height right here, where your hands are located as you're holding it in game. So you can set your hand height to be low, medium, or high. I honestly like the medium height. If I was to set this to high, for example, and we reactivate it, notice your hands by default move up. If we set it to low, by default, they're down here, so they're less in your way, so you can see the enemies a bit better. But honestly, I like medium. We've covered our player customizations, now we have the controls. So you can change whether your cursor is locked by default, so as soon as you spawn in game, if you'll have that red toggle right there. You can change the camera sensitivity, so how fast it moves around, how fast your player follows your camera, or your mouse in this case. You can customize the cursor visibility, so if you actually see that red reticle or not. And there's debug logs. So this is if you're testing and something isn't working properly or there's errors, you can turn that on, play a little bit until you get the error, and then send it over to me in the Discord server. That way we can both take a look at this together. And lastly, I will be covering the spells in just 1 second, but when you light somebody on fire, electrocute them, or float them, you can change how long that lasts for. So by default, 6 seconds. Merge spells distance. This is for the black hole ability, again covering in just 1 second. If when certain explosions happen, if enemies will get dismembered on the explosion. And lastly, the Kamehameha element. I'm very proud of this one, so stay tuned because you guys are going to see something awesome. What we need to do is, let's just do toggle options menu again to get rid of it. We press F2 to toggle our player cam again, and then we press the colon. Now we are back and active. So, this is what you guys have been waiting for, the spells. Okay, so there are 2 different ways of actually activating the abilities. You have R and then F. R, which is your main hand, and then F, which is your offhand. And why don't we press G? So if we press G, that cycles through our spells. So if we do G again, we do gravity, and then we have lightning right here. All of them activate. You can electrocute enemies. You can do whatever. But if we press G 1 more time, you guys will notice we can also use modded abilities. So this is my airbending mod. We have my shurikens from one of my Naruto spells. What else do we have? We have the Amaterasu ability, also working perfectly. So you guys can tell we can use modded abilities and modded spells just like the normal ones, which is perfect. If you press Shift B, that disables all spells. It removes the spells from both hands. But if I wanted to do, I don't know, G and then Shift G twice. Now if we press R, that's fire. And then if we press F, that is gravity, because we cycled through the second one. And yes, obviously these are the base game abilities. Nothing has changed. No code was added. It is literally you just activating the ability, which is awesome, because you can play exactly as the mod or, I guess, base game spells were intended. And Control G for the moment, it opens up both of these spell wheels. By the time you guys will get your hands on this, it'll make it so that it cycles through both at the same time. But regardless, that is what it does. And let's say you don't want to actually cycle through the spells with G. If we press H on the keyboard, that is where you'll be able to actually select the spell. Now, I'll make it eventually so it doesn't rotate along with you. But you can select fire right here and cast with R. If we wanted to select Fireball Jutsu, one of our Naruto abilities, there you go. If you want to do the Rasen Shuriken from Naruto, all of our abilities modded, everything works properly. And yeah, it's pretty awesome. If you want to use the item spawner, there you go. Alright, now it's time to go over our manually added in abilities. So if we press I at any point in time, we will automatically be able to cast our fireball. We can imbue things with it. You can hold it as long as you want. When you release it, it shoots it out. If we do Shift I, that shoots out our meteor. And yes, you guys can obviously tell, since we are not in VR, do you guys see any lag? I don't see any lag at all, so I can spam meteors all day long. But I will be getting to the spamming of spells in just 1 second. You guys are in for a treat. Finally, if we do Control I, we have our black holes right here. Can obviously do as many as we want, just move around. And then if there was actually stuff around them, it would get swirled around the black holes. So, we have I as our fire abilities. If we press O, that is lightning. So you can electrocute enemies, you can electrocute items. And if I walk over to this, it should break it. There you go. Look at that. Lightning works just like it should. But if that's not cool enough for you, do Shift I. It shoots out the Thunderbolt ability from your hand to electrocute everybody, which is perfect. And yes, all of the abilities aim towards the middle of your screen, that reticle. It just makes it a heck of a lot easier for aiming. I had to do it. And if you guys couldn't just tell, I pressed Shift I and O at the exact same time accidentally. So I just did the Thunderbolt and the Meteor at once, which I did not mean to. But yeah, you can spam it as much as you want. It's great. And then finally, if we do Control O, we have the Lightning Kamehameha directly from our hand. If we press Control O again, it shuts it off. Now, this is very important. Pay attention, everybody. From here, we change our Kamehameha element. This is super important. Let's set it to fire. And then we toggle the options menu back off. Turn this back on. Now, granted, you do not need to do this at all, but I had to do this. So, you did Control O for the Lightning Kamehameha, and now it does the Fire Lightning Kamehameha, completely customizable in your mod book, which burns everybody and everything to a crisp. Definitely something I did not have to add, but I really wanted to do it. I think it turned out great. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. But what I'm going to do is actually set that back to lightning, and then we're going to continue. Okay, and now lightning is back. That is perfect. Finally, we have P. So, I, O, P. Those are the different abilities. Your hand rotates properly whenever you need to actually activate them. So, there you guys go. You can do gravity as much as you want, as many fireballs as quickly as you can press the button. You can spam lightning, although that doesn't exactly work as well. But you can do that with the Thunderbolt right here, so that works. But P is gravity, and knocks things back. If you do Shift P, it does the gravity bubble, and this is one of them that I had to manually edit the code myself, because obviously if you do this, you can, use the gravity abilities, you can float in it, whatever. It also makes it a heck of a lot easier if you want to jump onto things like this right here. So if we want to aim up at the top and then actually jump, voila, super easy, it floats us, and then we can jump to whichever one of these we want. But let's say, I don't know, you're getting attacked by a bunch of enemies at once. I manually did it so that we could spam as many gravity bubbles as you want at once. And yes, you can obviously float through all of them. They are all the actual gravity bubble from the base game itself. And then they all close properly. It is so much fun. I absolutely love doing that. But I will be honest, I have something I love even more. If we do Control P, it is the Lightning Gravity Tornado, which electrocutes and sucks all the enemies up, spits them out the funnel, and then they fall back to their doom. Now, this is cool. Don't get me wrong, but what if it was even cooler? Just like that gravity bubble, you can spam it as many times as you want, and yeah, all of the enemies get obliterated. I feel like an absolute god doing this. It's so cool. But I did make you guys a promise. What I'm going to do is spam a bunch of the abilities right now, and you guys are going to let me know in the comment section if you think it is awesome. And if you have other suggestions for abilities or things that you guys would like me to add to this mod. So in order to prove to you there is no lag whatsoever, check this out. Let's do black holes, a ton of them. Let's do lightning gravity tornadoes, and then gravity bubbles. Check this out. So I'm able to move around and despite having all of those gravity bubbles, all of those black holes, and all of the lightning gravity tornadoes, I'm still able to move, no problem, no lag at all. What I'm going to need you guys all to do is let me know what you think in that comment section right now. I think it turned out fantastic, and I'm super happy to be showing this off to you guys. What I'm going to do is put an enemy in-game, so let's just do spawn enemy, and let's just do a few of them, just for fun. So, obviously, just show it off real quick, use the fireballs and stuff, you know, you can hit them, you burn them, yada yada, you guys get it. But, if we do, why don't we do it on... Let's do it on this guy right here. If we press T while looking at him, T instantly ignites him. Same thing with this lady right here. T ignites him on fire. If we do Y while looking at somebody, it electrocutes them. So this guy got electrocuted. These people right here, let's electrocute him. And then if we do U while looking at, I don't know. Let's do it this guy. So we're looking at him, floated. Everybody gets floated. You can imbue them with lightning, gravity, or fire, or to burn them all at once. You can do it separately, whatever you guys want. Now, if we do Shift and T, it lights them all on fire, and I think we're going to need a few more enemies to test this out. So, let me explain. Pressing the T, Y, and U, it lights the enemy that you're looking at on whatever the ability is. Shift plus the button does all enemies, and then Control plus the button does every single enemy and ally. So everyone currently in the game, except you, of course. And I haven't actually shown this before, but this is the highest you can look up. This is the highest you can look down, just so that you're not over-rotating, because I've seen that happen in a few games, and it does get a little bit weird. But let's do Shift Y, electrocute all the enemies. Shift U, float them all, and then Control T. Now they all get burned. Just for fun, absolutely no need for it, but I think it turned out great. And yes, for those of you guys that know one of the base game abilities in order to use gravity against fire, you can push the flames onto enemies. That's literally what I'm doing right now. So you can actually activate all the special abilities along with the spells thanks to this flat screen mod. Alright, but now we've gone over all of our spells and abilities. What we can do is press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 0 in order to remove it. So when pressing any of the number keys, you can equip any of the assigned weapons. So this is very important. Alright, so in our JSON right here, you put the item's ID, and that is what you will actually be able to equip in that number key slot, 0 through 9. I'd still recommend keeping 0 empty so that when you press 0, it's just a fist, but that's up to you guys. You can always do Control R or F to remove whatever you're doing just by ungripping it, but to each their own. If you guys actually want to find the item IDs, go to the item JSONs, and then from here, this is what the ID would be if you wanted to take Asta's Demon Slayer sword from Black Clover, and I would just put it in one of these slots right here. If we were to select something like number 8 right here, where you make sure to have a comma in between and you just select and put multiple in right here, this is where it gets fun, because if we go back into the game and instead of pressing 2 or 3, we press 8, 8 right here now switches between any of those 3. So it's completely up to you guys. Whatever you guys want, you can completely customize whichever weapons you want to easily have access to. I will at some point be making it so that at the bottom of the screen right here, there is something where you could just click on it, and then you can just press and activate the spells or weapons or the abilities, whatever, directly from like you're playing a game like, I don't know, World of Warcraft or Path of Exile or Diablo, where you can just press at the bottom. I haven't actually experimented with that just yet. You can only activate the abilities and everything you are seeing from the keyboard, but honestly, I think it's working pretty well so far. The final thing we need to talk about is pressing our normal key, puts it into that main hand, which you can completely customize whether it's right or left in our mod book. But if we do Shift and then whatever key, it puts it in the other hand. And then if we do Control and then the number key, it puts that weapon in both hands. But with that, This is my flat screen mod for Blade and Sorcery. If you guys think this is as awesome as I do, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out the channel a ton. Thanks for watching.